Hello NYWCites, and welcome to another DVD review. Seeing that Psycho Circus 19 is this Saturday night, I am reviewing Psycho Funkin Circus. This event took place on February 23rd, 2008, 14 years ago today, at NYWC's original home, the Deer Park Community Center. This show was attended by myself, and it was quite a show. Before, I do remember that night, as everybody was filing into the building, people were sitting down. I remember, I don't know who brought them into the building, but there were balloons going all over the room, and as people were coming in everybody's direction, everybody was like hitting them with their hands like they're volleyballs or something. I don't know who was responsible for that, and I guess we may never find out. On to the action. The show kicks off with Maverick, the future premier athlete, Tony Nese, as he challenged yours truly, Alex Reynolds, with his butler, Maxwell Belvedere, for the Hi-Fi Championship, which Alex referred to as the High Society Championship. Now, unless I'm mistaken, this was the first ever one-on-one meeting between both of these men. And as time went on, you know, they got better, not only from working with each other, but as evidenced by the fact that both men are currently a part of All Elite Wrestling. By the way, Reynolds had come to the ring to Time to Say Goodbye by Sarah Brightman, and basically takes his entrance used to take like 20 years to get to the ring. After the music stopped, the fans were like mocking his music, and the fans were picking on Belvedere. They were chanting "gay" at him. And while I was there, somebody in the crowd was somebody said, "This is the gay section." And at that point, I said, "Speak for yourself." Early in the match, a lot of mat work by both of them. Maverick hits a very nice drop kick. Reynolds throws Maverick over the top rope, but much like Ricky Steamboat, Maverick skinned the cat and head scissored Reynolds out of the ring. He does a flip dive out to the floor. Reynolds drop kicks Maverick as he tried to re-enter the ring. Mav hit like a leg lariat from his knees. Maverick missed like a forearm in the corner and ended up eating a clothesline, which caused Maverick to do a 360 job. Later on, Maverick hits an enziguri while Reynolds was positioned on the second rope and then superplexes him. Reynolds comes off the ropes. Maverick hits a nice tilt-a-whirl slam and then hits a Canadian Destroyer-like DDT. At that point, tried to go for the pin, but Belvedere puts Reynolds' foot on the rope. Maxwell at that point comes up to the apron arguing with Ref Andre. Reynolds attempts a low blow, but Nese catches his arm while it was between his legs before it nailed him in the groin. And Maverick used some kind of fireman carry drop. It wasn't a Death Valley driver. Eventually, Hotshot Mike Reed comes out, distracts the referee. But then Flawless Blake Morris comes along. He hits a jumping flatliner on Maverick. Reynolds gets on top of Maverick and pins him to retain the Hi-Fi/High Society Championship. Good match to start this Psycho Circus event. Second matchup, we see Dan Barry go one-on-one with Joey Brajol, the future demonic juggernaut Apollyon, accompanied to the ring by the notorious BD, who was Robert Franklin, one of Robert Franklin's past identities. Barry got the advantage early with a neck breaker. Barry attempted a body slam, but failed, much like Hulk Hogan did with the late Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. Brajol came back with a clothesline. He caught Barry jumping in midair with a super kick. Brajol hit a belly-to-belly suplex. Barry retaliated with a slingshot top rope leg drop. Brajol ended up picking up a win with a reverse swing neck breaker, which I remember Nova first used in ECW. He called it the Spin Doctor. Yeah, enter your Two Princes reference, folks. Brajol picked up the victory after that. Up next was a tag team gauntlet match. As first comes out Billy and Danny, the Angus brothers, coming to the ring by Prince Charles, And at this point, Charles, I guess, was fed up with the Anguses for some reason. And Charles was saying, took the microphone, he said, look, this is not my idea. NYWC management put you guys in this match, but I'm the one responsible for you guys entering first. And I'm going to make sure you guys don't win this match. So out come the first tag team for the Angus to face. Spider and Benny Martinez, who later became the Naturally Fly Latinos. Fun match here, which eventually the Angus brothers, surprisingly, when I was there, I was surprised the Angus brothers won this as they hit a doomsday, like an ace crasher off of, I don't know who was Billy or who was Danny Angus, on Benny Martinez off one of the Angus brothers' shoulders and pinned him to win that part of the gauntlet match. Second team to come out was representing the Dirty Rednecks, Dirty Joe, a.k.a. Indestructible Joey Tell, and Dirty Vinny, who also wrestled as Southern Vinny Styling, and he has since passed away. They were accompanied to the ring by Dirty Tara, formerly Tara Charisma. She has since quit the business. The Anguses ended up beating Dirty Joe and Dirty Vinny with a doomsday powerbomb type move. And then out comes the next tag team, Big John Silver and Oscar the Giant. John Silver, who's currently in AEW, was wearing Big John Studd's old white tights with the stars on the side, and Oscar the Giant was wearing a Andre-style singlet, like, suited to fit him. Let me see. Oscar ended up taking a powerbomb from one of the Angus brothers, but at that point, Prince Charles decided to channel his inner Arnold Skolin and threw in the towel, causing the Angus brothers to be eliminated from the match. But then out comes our next team, Stockade and Scyther, representing the Black Circle, who were accompanied by the late Crusher Dugan. Oscar gets speared by Stockade, and Silver gets a sliced bread number 2 from Scyther and gets pinned, eliminating Silver and Oscar from the match. And then out comes our next team, the other team of the Dirty Rednecks, Dirty JT, who we know is JT Kaysen, who later became a member of Reckless and Wasted, and Dirty Moore, who we know today as Dirty Dirk. No, we know him today as Dirk Moore, I'm sorry. Dirk Moore, who's currently one half of the Dirty Deeds with bearded villain Johnny Malloy. Stockade made JT tap out to a triangle choke in that leg of the gauntlet. And then out comes the final team, Flawless Blake Morris and Hotshot Mike Reed. Stockade speared Morris. Reed hit Stockade with this big long chain that Stockade brought to the ring with him. Referee was distracted by Crusher, I believe, or maybe it was Maxwell Belvedere who came out with Morris and Reed for this part of the gauntlet match. While still feeling the effects of the spear, Morris was down on the mat. Maverick comes out, comes to the top rope, hits a 450 splash on Morris, enabling Stockade and Scyther to win the gauntlet match, and as a result, they became #1 contenders to the Tag Team Championship. Next up was a match that wasn't even announced for the show, as we saw Ahmad Jihad Akbar of the Foreign Legion with Prince Charles comes out, and he takes the microphone. I forgot what he ended up saying. And out comes his opponent, Danny Inferno. Many remember him as the Inferno Kid way before indie wrestling was cool, or even on the plateau indie wrestling is on today. I forgot what Inferno had done, but Akbar had rolled out to the floor, and he and Charles left the ringside area, and Akbar was deliberately counted out, enabling Danny Inferno to pick up the win. This was the only time Danny Inferno ever worked NYWC. Next up, we see the I superstar Rob Echoes, accompanied the ring by Mr. Entertainment Brian Vitko, as Echoes went one-on-one with Jerry Lynn. Echoes later became Robbie E in Impact Wrestling, and we know him today as Robert Stone in NXT. Jerry Lynn hits the Chris Jericho dropkick off the second rope, which knocked Echoes off the apron. Jerry chased Vitko out on the floor, only to take a clothesline from Rob. Jerry hit a reverse DDT, also a top rope Hurricane Rana. Jerry tried suplexing Echoes into the ring, and Vitko tried to pull a WrestleMania 5, grabbing Jerry's leg. Echoes landed on top. And the referee counted, but Jerry got his shoulder up, so that was a fail. Echoes eventually, I think Vitko was arguing with the referee. Echoes eventually hits a low blow and a neck breaker, pins Jerry to win the match. And after the match, Vitko ends up taking the microphone. He and Rob do a number on Jerry, and Vitko says, "I don't care if you're Jerry Lynn, I don't care if you're Terry Funk." And they double team him until Dickie Rods hit the ring. Now, the story of this was, I think it was near the end of 2007, Dickie Rods, I don't know if he had stopped working for NYWC for a time or he took time off, but before 07 ended, Vitko aligned himself with Rob Echoes, declaring him the I Superstar. Rods gets the microphone, he says, "Hey, what does the I stand for? Idiot?" And obviously, Rods was obviously back, and he was out to get Vitko and Rob Echoes. Now, at that point, at the show live, they had gone to intermission, and I had gotten a picture with Terry Funk, and I got one with Jerry Lynn as well, and I still have those photos to this very day. I was so thrilled to get the Funker. And then it was time for the main event for the Psycho Funkin Circus match. Now, at the time of this show, Joe Graves was the ring announcer. And I'm sorry to say it, NYWC, Joe Graves was the worst ring announcer ever in NYWC history. Nick Vrona did better than him. Stephen DeAngelis was there too, and he ring announced a few shows. Larry Legend, who could forget him? Andy Miller did a great job. Jason Linnick. I'm sure there's others I'm probably forgetting along the way. But I will say, I mean, the problem, my gripe with Joe Graves as ring announcer, I mean, why the heck are you, I mean, why couldn't this guy just stand still as he's introducing wrestling instead of walking around the ring? I kind of made fun of that with a friend of mine who used to frequent the shows with me back then. You know, this poor guy, Joe Graves, just not standing still as he's introducing the wrestlers. I mean, I know he was trained to wrestle at the time, Joe Graves. I don't know if he ever did wind up on a show at all, or he ended up quitting, or what his deal was, but I'm sorry. But usually the Psycho Circus match would be a 5-on-5, sometimes 6-on-6, or sometimes a 4-on-4 team effort. But on this occasion, it was every man for himself, because the winner would win the vacant NYWC Championship, which was vacated by Plasma, who we know today is Trent and AEW's best friends. Trent, at that point, he had gotten signed by WWE at the time. That's why he relinquished the championship on his final night with the company after he won it. But here's how it went down. The order of entry, we started out with Mike Spinelli and then Interstate Champion, the Greek god Papadon, accompanied the ring by Mr. Entertainment Brian Drickle. They started out. Spinelli hit a running knee strike on Papadon. He also hit an X Factor. Papadon used a trash can lid. Spinelli hit an Inzaghitti. He used a chair on him. Papadon was eventually choked Spinelli with the trash can lid. But then Dan Dynasty, accompanied the ring by Jamie Van Leemer, Dynasty enters the match, gives Spinelli a great suplex. Dynasty and Papadon hit each other with a kick to the gut and a punch. And then Bruno Marciano enters. Spinelli hits Papadon with a trash can. Bruno hits, I don't know what kind of a suplex. It was like one of those suplexes Taz was known for, where he hooked Dynasty's his head and his leg and took him over for a suplex. Spinelli dropped toe-holded Bruno onto the garbage can. And at that moment, just as Prince Nana is entering, Bruno makes Dynasty tap out to the Kimura lock. Nana hits Bruno with a chair, but Boogaloo eventually enters. He hits an Exploder suplex on Bruno. Papadon hits a top rope headbutt on Bruno, which eliminated Marciano from the match. Then next, Tony Burma enters, and he had brought a fork into the ring, but Boogaloo hits Burma and knocks it out of his hands, and Boogaloo proceeds to fork Burma up. Nana uses a trash can lid on Boogaloo. And then our next entry is Mega. By the way, Mega and Nana were the tag team champions at the time. Mega enters. Spinelli thrown to a chair set up in the corner, thrown by both Burma and Papa Don. Boogaloo hits Mega with a trash can lid, as does Papa Don. Burma hits Mega with the garbage can, and Mega falls down to the mat. But then Mikey Whipwreck, accompanied in the ring by Terry Funk, enters the match. Whipwreck brought some kind of barbed wire stick. It wasn't a baseball bat, a barbed wire stick in his hand. Then our final entrant was Lowrider. He enters. Whipwreck used what looked like a dry erase board or a whiteboard. He's using it on everybody that he sees, and even hit himself in the head with it. And I feel sorry for whoever brought that to the show because it broke. Then from there, both Lowrider and Boogaloo, who were collectively known as the Dead Presidents, they put Prince Nana in a position where Mega had Nana up, and they kicked Mega in the legs, and as a result, Mega had seemingly powerbombed Nana through a table. Burma pinned Papa Don with a TKO. Mega pinned Boogaloo with a second rope splash. Mega chokeslammed Lowrider through a table. Spinelli suplexed Burma onto a ladder. Spinelli was going to climb to the top rope, but Vitko grabs his foot, stopping him and enabling Burma to use a chair on Spinelli, and he sending him crashing through a table out on the floor. Burma pulls a Raven and toe holds Whipwreck onto a chair. Mega hits Burma with a chair, and it looked like a piece of it broke off. At that point, Funk is out on the floor. He's pounding on Prince Charles until Mega confronted him, and Funk literally pushes Mega twice, and Mega says, "You're lucky you're already a senior citizen," before going back to the match. Mega was up on the apron, and it looked like he dropped some paper out of his hand, and Whipwreck took some of that paper, and he threw it, throwing fire in Mega's face. Mega goes off the apron, crashing to a table, and ringing out to Joe Graves. He's stumbled on his words, trying to tell the crowd that Mega had been eliminated, and somebody in the crowd you could hear mocking Joe Graves. Eventually, it's down to Whipwreck and Tony Burma. Brian Vitko comes in the ring, and he's stomping away on Whipwreck until Terry Funk comes into the ring, attacks both Vitko and Burma, gives Vitko a DDT, and chases Vitko out of the ring. Eventually, the end came when Whipwreck, with a barbed wire stick or club, used a whippersnapper off the second rope, pins Tony Burma to win the vacant NYWC championship. Out comes the other Black Circle member, Stockade Scyther, and the late Crusher Dugan, celebrating the victory. And on a personal note, as the crowd was starting to leave that night, two guys noticed me with my Shawn Michaels hat on. They approached me about taking a picture with them, and I flat out ignored them. And thankfully, they were willing to take a hint. All in all, Psycho Funkin Circus was a very good show. Another great night in the history books of NYWC. Can't wait for Psycho Circus 19 this Saturday night, February 26th, as it'll be the first ever Psycho Circus event held in 2 years. So, hope everybody enjoyed this one.